Let's go ahead and get started. Chilly day today. Got a great progress. As a reminder,
Not my audio, my video was. Hi, Dorothy. Hi, Rachel.
Zoomers. Down. All right. Guests and visitors, my name is Steve Perley, club president, and I'd like to welcome you all to the 18th meeting of the 48th year of the Dublin Worthington Rotary Club. Today's invocation and pledge of allegiance will be offered by Pete Barnhart. Maybe not. Pete's not here.
Long distance.
It's too cold.
This is cold. Does anybody want to volunteer?
I,
Thanks, Tom.
dear Lord, we have a lot to be thankful for in this country. And if we could only try and be a little more sensitive, a little more understanding, a little more caring, it would be so great. Bless this food for which we're about to eat in your name, we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation.
Thank you, Tom. Kim, would you introduce any guests or visiting Rotarians should there be?
We have no visitors today.
No,
So our speakers will be introduced later.
fantastic. Thank you. All right. Ken's here. It's time for our sergeant. Arguably one of the most fun parts of the meeting.
This is the most fun part of the meeting. We need to pick it up a little bit.
I'm trying.
Do I have a volunteer to get the pot? Somebody, anybody? Darnell, you the man. So a couple of weeks ago, Phil Geisler came up here to applaud. When I come up here, people typically boo. If you have ever applauded any other sergeant or booed me, throw in $1. Happy dollars. Who has them? I'll start. Spent a couple days last week in LA visiting our son, spent 5 days in Hawaii at an industry conference. And got to Pearl Harbor for the first time. If you ever get to Hawaii, you got to go to Pearl Harbor. It's something everybody has to do. Anybody else? Happy bucks. Gordon.
Thank you. Couple of days, Friday, my birthday. And we had a tradition for a number of years that we put a dime in for every year.
Yep.
And I think it's a great tradition. And so I got 93 dimes to put in the pot today.
You just turned 93.
Yeah, Friday, give me till Friday.
All right. Congratulations, and I've said this before. It's not gonna happen for me, but I would give anything to have his head of hair at age 90. Yeah, or today. Anybody else? Happy bucks. Anybody else have, nobody's happy about anything? Does the weather have you down or something?
Yes. I've got one.
Dick?
Well, I'm happy to let you know that we're halfway to our goal of 600 plants at the point center stands.
Good start, congratulations.
I'm gonna have to owe the pot, but I was happy that I got to go down to the Marietta Noon Club from where we got Emily. They had a fundraiser down there and it was like a steak dinner kind of casino night, which we talked about at our Ways and Means meeting, and they raised $19,500 in about 3 hours. So obviously I took a bunch of notes and I had a great time, and I also won a bar starter package, which I'm going to then re-raffle in our club. It's got like bourbon and vodka and Cointreau and all that stuff. So it was a great event. I was happy to be there.
Sounds like a re-gift to me. You got to, I'll cover
Yeah,
it for you.
thank you.
I got it. I'll take care of it. Is anybody here going somewhere warm over the winter for more than a week? For more than a week? I'm guessing virtually every hand is of a retired person.
Yeah.
If you're going to Florida, you're gonna miss some meetings, you're gonna not be fined while you're gone. Put in $1 for that. Thank you. Anybody here going to the Michigan game next week? Throw in $1. You're two of the privileged few. I'll be there also. Finally, everybody in the room, please throw in $1 in memory of our friend Frank Dunbar. He would want us to do that. Thank you. Have a great week.
Thanks, Ken. All right, announcements. I know you've got plenty, so wander up here. I can't remember, so you might have seen in the newsletters, Oktoberfest is done, completed. When I input our numbers, we had 1,345 pairs of socks, and the next closest club was 890, so I was like, all right, we crushed it. And then I checked a couple days later, and some other club donated 3,145 socks, so good news is we donated a ton of socks as a district, but
It was a typo.
a typo, I think that might have been. So kudos to all of us. Okay. Thank you.
Well, everybody knows what time of year it is, right? You see me up here making a fool of myself. It's time for our adopted family Christmas project that we do every year. And I sent information for the newsletter to tell everybody what's going on. So I'm just going to read what I put in the newsletter so I don't forget something. I said, well, it's time for our club's adopted family Christmas project. As you know, we receive the names of children and their families from the principals or social workers from Wilson Hill Elementary in Centero. This year, it was suggested by past President John Butterfield to add Slate Hill Elementary. I will be sitting by the entrance to our meeting with the children's gift tags. The tags will hold the child's name, age, sex, wishes, and sizes. After selecting the tags you want, we ask you to bring the gifts back to my table the following week. Please be sure to gift wrap the presents and add the tag to the outside of the gift. I will give the parents additional Christmas themed tags to replace the ones we put on. But the reason is so the children don't know what's in the package. But when you put those tags back on the gifts and turn them into me, it lets me know and I can keep track of what items I am. Today we have 7 children, and I'm waiting, or since we have members on Zoom, I would ask them to come pick up the tags or ask another member to pick them up for you. We need you. The dates to pick up the tags is November 23rd and the 30th. We must have the gifts back to me by the following weeks. And we also give the parents a $150 gift card for groceries for Christmas. You Rotarians always amaze me, and you always come through year after year. We give those families a Christmas to remember, and you know me, I'll be the one with the reindeer antlers sitting up there. So thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Peggy. Yeah. We have a rah-rah.
Can we do it at the rah-rah?
Sure.
We'll do it at the rah-rah then. Thank you.
Let's points at a time, and we're doing quite well. We've passed the 300 mark, but we still need a few more sales. I know several of you out there hustling the crowd, so we're looking for getting close to our 600 plant goal. I have the list that was left on the tables last week. Coordinate with Jim Miller to make sure that you only buy one load on here. I mean, I've got people here such as Jim Farmer bought looks like 6 plants. I don't want him to be billed twice for the same plant, so
I
check
do.
the list. Take care.
It looks like 12 plants to me.
Thank you for looking after me.
At least 12.
Yeah. Might as well make it 20 so he gets the discount.
Yeah. Continuing the theme of the holidays on your tables, and it's not on your table yet, because we have these circulating around the sign-up sheet for our gift delivery with the Kilbourne High School. And that's on the 10th of December. And as you see on there, if you want to work the dots, you get there early at 8 o'clock. They want to deliver gifts, we'll start loading at 9 o'clock. It takes about an hour and a half, no more than that, and many times less than that to make these deliveries. And it's a small trade-off for all the smiles you would get from 52 children who would get to enjoy a better holiday because of these things. Thank you.
Any other announcements? Christie, you want to make an announcement? I don't know. Should we? Getting close. All right. Yeah. Sorry to put you on the spot. Did I? I think it was in there.
So this month has 5 Wednesdays, which means our next rah-rah is the 30th. It'll be from 4 to 6 at Getaway Brewing, which is in Bridge Park on the west side of the river. Conveniently located right next to a parking garage, which is free with validation. We plan to have free munchies, and the Getaway will donate, I think, $1 for every beer and seltzer purchase to Folio Plus. So that's a very important point to remember when you're ordering, because we all have to order at the bar. We won't have a server, but we are going to be in a private room.
Awesome.
Date again, please.
The whole thing?
Date.
Oh, the 30th,
Thank you.
4 to 6.
Okay, great. Thank you. We'll also be taking donations, right? And will there be a raffle? Sure, there'll be a raffle. We'll make a raffle happen. Okay, any other announcements? Anybody else do? Okay, hearing none, then I think, Christie, I'm sorry, I gotta come back up here.
I'm here to introduce today's speaker, Melissa Carlson. She is the owner of P Next Steps in Dublin. You'll see the information on your tables. P Next Steps is an exercise and wellness program for people living with Parkinson's. Melissa was born and raised in Dublin and graduated from Ohio University, after which she spent her first career teaching. She then decided to follow her passion for fitness and take a leap of faith to start a fitness business in 2016, which was rebranded in 2018, focused solely on those with Parkinson's disease. The programs offered at P Next Steps are designed to help those battling Parkinson's surpass their limits and live a fully functional and active life. These programs serve not only those in Central Ohio, but all around the nation. Since 2018, the business has grown over 250%, relying solely on word of mouth and satisfaction from its clients. Alyssa has 3 grown children. One is in his first year of teaching, and 2 girls who are sophomores in college. And Alyssa currently resides in Dublin. Please welcome Alyssa.
Hey, I am just, can you guys hear me okay? I have a really big voice, so if I step away, just, and you can't hear me, just wave at me. So thank you for that introduction, Christy. I was telling her earlier that this is a real privilege for me, because typically I am talking to people that are either living with Parkinson's or neurologists or other people that are somehow involved with people with Parkinson's. So thank you for allowing me to be here and discuss the amazing things that we have going on with the Parkinson's community. So as she mentioned, we have a brick and mortar facility, which is right down the street, right off 270 in Sawmill, kind of catty corner behind the Dublin AMC. We have about 2,300 square feet currently, and we've been there about 4 years. So it's a great location, easy access. We have people driving from Mansfield. We have a couple people from Springfield. So it's real easy access to the facility. So let me just back up a little bit. One of the first things people ask me is, why did you decide to go into helping people with Parkinson's? And before I get into that, I would like to prove to you by the end of today that Parkinson's is not just your grandpa's disease anymore. Typically, when someone says, oh yeah, you know, my great uncle had Parkinson's, or my grandpa had Parkinson's, it's not that way. And one of my biggest missions, having this company, is to change the stigma around that. So how I started with Parkinson's is, as Christy mentioned, I decided to take a leap of faith and start a fitness business. I did not win the genetic lottery. So I have, my father passed away of pancreatic cancer at the age of 59. My mother is checks off all the boxes of a very unhealthy lifestyle, unfortunately. And I made it my mission to kind of, well, help people like her, even though she's very stubborn and won't listen to me, but to not be like that. And so that's kind of how I started my fitness business. Just, you know, I don't want to be like that, even though my father passed away of pancreatic cancer. That has nothing to do with lifestyle, but it was one of the fuels to my fire. So going forward, I had the privilege of working out alongside a gal named Jackie Russell, who was one of the co-founders of Delay the Disease, which is at the time was an exercise program for people with Parkinson's through Ohio Health. COVID changed all of that, but Jackie kind of encouraged me to come volunteer and serve this community. They had several classes for people with Parkinson's. And after dealing with people that I would train for years that complained about everything, I was finally in this space of being around people that exercise made a huge difference. And they realized it and they felt better. And half the time they didn't want to be there, but they knew as soon as they walked in the door, it was gonna make them feel better. So it was sort of a aha moment. Like, why would I not want to surround myself with people that really benefit from movement? So I got certified with Delay the Disease and started teaching for them 5 days a week. And during that time, I was noticing that we weren't really challenging people enough with Parkinson's. It was at that time, it was, okay, just be really careful. And of course we want you to be careful, but let's not push you too much. You know, let's just make sure that, you know, you're okay and stuff. And something kept nagging at me, like, these people are really under challenged. So I bought a licensing agreement. At that time, Ohio Health allowed that, and I started my own program. And you'll see later in some of the slides, we started at Dublin Dance Center, which is really close to where I'm at now. But they offered me a room for free, which was so generous. And we started with 4 people. And to this date, as of yesterday, we're at 92. So, and that's over the span of about 5 years, with just word of mouth. So I am so incredibly grateful, and just every day is a great day. And as I tell most people, I really have the best job in the world. So I feel very fortunate for that. So I'm going to go through a couple slides, just to kind of give you a little background. Parkinson's disease. This is a slide that you will see a lot of neurologists use this. So on top of the iceberg is the things that you can actually see people with Parkinson's have: a tremor, rigidity, which means they're real stiff, bradykinesia, which means they move slow, and then postural instability, which a lot of times you'll see people with Parkinson's slunched over. Underneath the iceberg is the non-motor symptoms. And as you can tell, there is so many non-motor symptoms. At the top of that is constipation. A lot of these are those things that nobody likes to talk about, but for people living with Parkinson's, it's a very real thing. Research has shown us that people with Parkinson's have had constipation issues for 10 to 15 years before actually being diagnosed. Those kind of things, the REM, sleep disturbances, acting out. So there's many symptoms that they have that aren't visible to you and I, that people with Parkinson's deal with. I can't not mention depression, apathy, and anxiety. 80 to 85% of people with Parkinson's deal with some sort of mental health as well. And for those that didn't know, Parkinson's disease is a neurodegenerative disease. So it does get worse as time goes on. So, all right, who's a number geek out here? Any accountants, actuaries? No one. Okay. I'm not either, but these are facts. So there's estimated more than 1 million people in the United States living with Parkinson's and over 10 million worldwide. About 60,000 people are diagnosed each year just in the United States. And I read a statistic just the other day that that's about 1 in 37 people will be diagnosed with Parkinson's. The average age of diagnosis is 60 years old. And about 4% of the Parkinson's population is diagnosed before the age of 50. If you guys are familiar with Michael J. Fox, he was diagnosed at the age of 29. So this is one of my favorite slides. If exercise could be purchased in a pill, it would be the single most widely prescribed and beneficial medicine in the world, or in the nation, the world. So why do we do what we do? Exercise is an important part of healthy living for everyone, but those living with Parkinson's disease, exercise is more than healthy. It's a vital component to maintaining balance, mobility, and activities in daily life. Research shows that exercise and physical activity can not only maintain and improve mobility, flexibility, and balance, but it can also help with those non-motor symptoms that I showed you on that slide of the iceberg. I'm going to take a moment and tell you of my biggest success story, because people say, you know, like, tell me what happens, you know, why, you know, tell me something good that has happened. So about 2 years ago, I had a gentleman walk into the gym, and he was a friend of one of my my members already. He walked in with a walker. He was almost 90-degree bent over, walking with his walker. And when he walked in, because he was a friend of one of my members, I thought, okay, we'll talk, we'll see what's going on. He's had 14 surgeries his whole life. He's had a broken back, he's had, you know, hips, knees, you name it. So I thought, you know what, something inside of me said, I'm gonna give this a try. We're gonna see what we can do. He's very dedicated, had the right frame of mind and everything. So that gentleman, who is now 74 years old, is now walking without a walker. He's doing burpees, for those that know what a burpee is. He's doing amazing things. He's living his life, they're traveling, they're doing all these things that he was not able to do. And that's merely because he started exercising. So this exercise is so profound for everybody, but most importantly for this group. Exercise is medicine. And we follow, there's two main groups that we follow. So there's the Parkinson's Foundation and the Michael J. Fox Foundation. The Parkinson's Foundation just released new guidelines, 150 minutes of cardiovascular exercise, along with 2 to 3 days of strength training with balance and agility for an overall plan of attack. So if you think about it, 150 minutes is not that much. Are you guys all exercising 150 minutes a week? That's like 5 days of 30 minutes of exercise. I won't ask for a show of hands, but I can see it written all over your face. And also to have the most profound impact, exercise needs to be moderate to vigorous in intensity. So we aim for being breathless. And for those of us with heart rate monitors, it's easier to keep track of, but for those with not, if you don't have a heart rate monitor, breathless means not being able to say 5 or 6 words together. So if you're at the gym, walking around the track, talking to your buddy, having a conversation, you're probably not breathless. If you're not able to sing zippity doo dah, you probably are. So you don't want to be able to sing a song or something. You want to have to. That's breathless. And the reason is, this is just a graph of the Parkinson's Foundation. It's neuroplasticity, it's neuroprotective. So think about, you get your heart rate up. What's going, oxygen's going to your brain, all right? And then you get this, we call it like a coating, because your brain is plastic, over that protects kind of what's already in there. So when you have Parkinson's disease, the dopamine cells in your brain have either died or dying. So why do we want to do that? We want to protect what we have. And that's what aerobic intense exercise does. So the best time for people with Parkinson's to exercise is during on periods. I'd say about, I think in our group, 75% of people are on some sort of medication. When you're on, you feel good. When you're off, you're not moving as well. So you don't really want to exercise during that. Inactivity leads to neurodegeneration, and this goes for all of us. This is kind of one of those tough love things. See those couch potatoes? Use it or lose it. And it's never too late. So I'll have people come to me, you know, that are 80, 82, Melissa, I've never exercised. And you know what I say to them? It's never too late and you're not too old. Because you're not. I mean, there's never, unless your doctor has looked at you and said, you are not supposed to exercise, then come talk to me. And the last thing I'm going to talk about with the exercise specific with this group is large amplitude movement. So if you've ever seen a person with Parkinson's, the dopamine that is either dying or gone in their brain. So dopamine is a mood and mood drug. It controls your mood and it controls your movement. So when you don't have that in your system, or you don't have as much as a person without Parkinson's, you move smaller. Okay, so you see a lot of people with Parkinson's shuffling, or they're slouched over stuff because their body is telling them, yeah, you're walking big. You're walking big, because that's what they're used to doing. So when we do our exercises, we focus on large amplitude, full extentures, fully extending all the limbs. And it's easy to do that while we're getting our heart rate up. So there's a bunch of research out on that, but also it's we work on a lot of functional movement. So activities of daily living. We squat all the time. For the gentleman, I'm sorry, I don't remember your name. That you're 93 for your birthday. You know what we would do? 94 squats, because we always give you one to grow on. So when their birthdays in the group, and I make sure I get everybody's birthday when they start coming to the gym, they'll say, oh, why are you so old? But anyway, squatting, it's one of those things that we do a lot, because you squat, you need to squat to get up off the toilet. You need to use a squat when you get out of the car, to get out of bed, to get into bed. There's all these things that that are fundamental functional movements that help with your daily living. All right. The best way to see benefits is to exercise on a consistent basis for everybody. I put some of these in here because these hold true for all of us. When it comes to exercise and PD, greater intensity may have greater benefits. The more you do, the more you benefit. Always stretch and cool down and know your limits. And the one big thing that I have failed to mention yet, but of all the things, there's no cure for Parkinson's yet. But of all the things, the one thing that has been proven to slow down the progression of this disease is exercise. So that's pretty profound when you think about that. If you're given a diagnosis and someone says, hey, you know what, I don't have a cure for you, but it's something that's gonna help slow down the progression of it. I think that's pretty beneficial. One of the big themes that we have in our group, why do we do what we do? Because you can. Oops. Okay, so here, like I promised, this is at Dublin Dance Center. This is how it started. So that was my 4 people that I started with. That was before we had to move out of there because we got more people. So those are the 4 people that were pictured in that first picture. They're still around with me 6 years later. That one on the far right, so that's in our current place, and behind there, you'll see people on Zoom, kind of like you guys have here. We have an average of 18 people per class. We have classes 6 days a week, 2 to 3 classes a day. And we also, like I said, Zoom, for people that are snowbirds. I heard some of you all are like going away, and that's my goal. I want people to be able to live their life. Just because they're diagnosed with something like Parkinson's, it doesn't mean they can't actively do what they want. So these are just a few things that we offer as well. So the top left, you'll see that's one of our neurologists with Ohio Health. We have educational seminars, which we try to do about once a quarter. We bring in OTs, PTs, speech people, neurologists, pharmaceutical companies will come in and discuss whatever it is. Any issue that would pertain to someone with Parkinson's. Oops. On the right there, during COVID, we did a bunch of these and people love them so much. We continue to do them. We do picnics. So that's actually right in front of our building. People bring their lunch. It's a good time to socialize and catch up outside of the gym, literally right outside of the gym. We had a Halloween party a couple weeks ago, which was really fun for people to dress up. That bottom right corner is we had a representative from the Michael J. Fox come to talk about research and all the good things they're doing. And then that's me. In the left corner, I just started working with Ohio Health to get their exercise program back up and running because of the pandemic. Things fell by the wayside, and there is such a great need for this kind of community exercise program. Now I'm going to go on to one of the more things, one of the bigger things I'm proud of. So 2 years ago, I got approached by one of my class participants' friends. My youngest member was diagnosed at the age of 37, and her friends came to me and said, we want to do something. We want to help her. We want to do something. So we decided to start this 5K for JK. Her name's Jessica Crowder. We did it in hopes to raise money for the Michael J. Fox Foundation, and then part of it to keep funds for local research and classes. So I am very proud to say that last year and this year we have a combined total of $186,000 we raised. 80% of that's going for 100% research with the Michael J. Fox Foundation. And the rest we're keeping here for local, like I said, education and community events. Oh, yeah. Ooh. I have a video to show you. Oops. See?
Is that the last slide?
No, there's a video to show.
That's
Right
all right,
there.
if he exercised, he might mess up.
So here's a quick video. This video is 4 years old. You have to hit the right, go down in the left corner, right there, but it should have been right there.
Yeah, reshare it.
So this was in our second place before we moved, but it was a video we created. Actually, someone obviously created it for me. That's a lot smarter than me, but it kind of gives you an idea of the community that we have.
You want me to call you? Okay. Sure. Anytime. Yep. Aren't you coming today? You need to pick up something.
Any questions? Yes.
Risk factors for getting it. First, people I knew who had it, were people who had concussions or what have you, about athletic activities, so. But that's not typical, right?
No, I mean, there's no known cause. I mean, you've got the genetic factor, there are some genetic links, and people that, a lot of people now are getting that test. There's a test you can get done to see if that's something that might be passed on. And then environmental factors, but to your point, yes, there has been some talk, you know, Muhammad Ali had. Into this, Muhammad Ali had Parkinson's, and you know, how many times was he hit in the head, et cetera, so. But the top two are the genetic and environmental.
Yeah, what's the process for diagnosing Parkinson's?
What's the question?
The question was, what is the process for someone to get diagnosed? So it depends, you want to see a neurologist, so typically what happens is somebody else notices something. You know, a slight tremor, a lot of people with Parkinson's don't swing their arm when they walk. So things that the person might not realize, or maybe just in the back of their head, think, something's there, but I'm not sure. But a spouse or a loved one will say, you know, you're not swinging your arm. Or, you know, a spouse will say, you've been acting out your dreams or whatever. But it's those, when we're talking about the iceberg again, those visible things that you can see, someone slunched over, they're shuffling is a big one. So, and then usually what happens is a primary care doctor will refer someone to a neurologist. Now, we recommend that you see a movement disorder neurologist because they're specialized in movement disorders, which is what Parkinson's is. General neurologists can diagnose, but you'll get better care and more, you know, they're trained better in just in movement disorders. Yeah.
I wanted to share a personal experience. First of all, we had a member of our club here who Dick alluded to injuries and concussions and things. He set the Big Ten kickoff return record of 103 yards against Illinois in 1960. Bill Wentz, and he was diagnosed with Parkinson's in 2006. He died in 2014. I had a couple of other fraternity brothers who have had Parkinson's. And recently I've been experiencing a little bit of balance, which the diagnosis was in her ear, but I've been concerned about it. And so the other day, as I had my physical, I talked with my internist and I said, how do you know if you're maybe getting Parkinson's? Because I'm 84 years old, I have a little shake in my hand, you know, and so forth. But my brain still works well. And he said, you don't have Parkinson's. And I said, wait a minute, I just asked you a question. You gave me that answer. He said, I saw you walk in here. And he pulled up a video on YouTube and said that one of the main items of diagnosis or initial diagnosis is walking hunched over, as you said, and shuffling. And it was great for me to hear and to know that that is an indicator, and that I don't do that. So anyway, I just thought I'd share that with the group.
Yeah, that's a very valid point. And also to kind of go along with that, you know, if you've ever heard Michael J. Fox speak, he says, if you've met one person with Parkinson's, you've met one person with Parkinson's. So the thought is, you know, we do have these textbook trademark, like you were saying, but the 37-year-old that I have in my group, she was diagnosed. From this microphone, she was diagnosed because she was training for a marathon and kept having cramps in her calf. Wasn't anything. She, you know, now she's developed a little bit of a tremor. Not everybody with Parkinson's will have a tremor. Not everybody will have a, you know, gait issues. Not everybody will have. I mean, as we age, we all have balance issues. So that's not one of those. Okay, you know, you've got Parkinson's because you have balance issues, but. They're, you know, they go through, one of the big things is rigidity. And you'll see I've been on several appointments with some of my folks with their movement disorder specialists to see exactly how they get diagnosed or what they're looking for. And one of, the neurological testing, which a lot of us as we age go through as well, but a lot of the rigidity. So when you have Parkinson's, you have rigidity in your joints. So they do some physiological test on your joints, your knees, your ankles, your wrists. So I mean, that is another telltale sign, I guess. They watch you walk, like you said, the arm swing, resting tremor, active tremor. There's quite a few things that they're looking for. But yeah, I would urge you not to get super worked up over balance instability as we age. I mean, we can all work on balance, let's be honest. I work on it. I just turned 50, so it's something that we can all benefit from as we age. Just one thought. If you know someone with Parkinson's, ask them if they're exercising. Just get them moving. It doesn't matter. You don't have to have like a program. I know these community programs are limited nationwide, but that's one of our goals, especially with the 501c3 that we're growing and trying to spread awareness. But get them moving, tell them to get their heart rate up. If it's biking, it's biking. If it's running, it's running. Something, just get them moving. It's going to make a big difference in the trajectory of their disease. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Standing over thinking, hey, I have Parkinson's and it's not just a coffee and alcohol, but I don't know which one's better or worse. Thank you again for speaking to us. I think, yeah, we're ready for the raffle.
Can I have Tim introduce his guest?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And with me, Isaac O'Neill, he's a junior at Eastland Career Center, and demonstrated he's shadowing on today. So going along with the Rotary.
Fantastic.
Isaac, I'm gonna let you reach in here and grab one ticket. It's $29.
$29. It's getting up there.
Last four, 8418.
8418.
Isaac wins.
It's been over a year.
Right, I'm reaching there and grab one first. Or pull your own.
How much is in the big pot?
$238.
238.
Last four, 8396.
8396.
Happy birthday. I did 3 sets of squats last night.
Did you really?
Longer strides, Gordon.
What is it? Oh, 7 of spades. No good. That's a fun.
Fair enough.
All right, before we wrap up, as is tradition, we will do the 4-way test. We'll go over, keep it easy today. First, is it true? Second.
Concern,
Third.
goodwill, and better friendships,
And
beneficial to all concerned.
please remember to turn your cell phones back on if you remember to turn them off in the first place. And don't forget to turn your batteries back in. Have a great rest of your week.
Yeah.